So welcome back to Coffee with Pam, and we are on part 2 here at Wegerzyn Gardens. And Pam is just pointing out the hostess with the mostest. We're back in the trails here, the tornado area.
The tornado took down some pretty big trees.
So yeah, wow, definitely took down some trees here.
Yes, it did.
So
those went straight through there.
Wow.
And hit our poor little Northridge. Is what it did.
Yeah. And you know, I slid on my mask because we found 2 people here in the park, so want to be, you know, compliant. So we'll walk and talk with the mask on here a little bit as we walk further past here in the wooded area of Wegerzyn. Wegerzyn.
Hi. How are you today, ladies?
Hi. So Wegerzyn Gardens. Wow, look at that, man. It whipped all the way through here. Now we pass these folks. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my pocket.
Well, you know, that is one thing that I have a thing about. Like, if you're 15 feet away from people, which I'm not 15 feet away from you, but you know pretty much where your family and your closest friends hang or go. And you know I mean, you can't stop living life to a point, you know?
Yeah, and we're outside, so there was only, I think 4 people I've seen total.
Yeah.
Actually 5, because one was worked here, but they were a good 50 to 100 feet away. But here again, here's where the tornado seemed to whip through. It feels good out here, Pam.
Feels really.
Or pull up a fountain. Pull up a chair. And we're going to just share a couple things from the heart. Okay, Pam and I pulled up a concrete stool, concrete bench here at Wegerzyn Gardens.
Good job.
I pronounced it right. Wegerzyn Gardens. And then we're going to talk about a few things about being all there. And, you know, Pam's got a pretty powerful and touching story. It's about a mutual friend. She was a little closer to him. They had coffees. So this is even before Pam and I started Coffee with Pam, where her and I had our first coffee in her backyard. She'd have frequent coffee with a friend from Northridge. His name is Wegerzyn. So I'll let Pam take over from here.
Yeah, we had a friend. He was, you know, a friend in high school, and he was a lifelong friend. And when he found out that my boyfriend had passed away, Roy, I lived in a bad, kind of a bad part of town, and Roy would come by and check on me and my kids and make sure that we were okay. And he loved his Harley Davidson probably more than anything, and he would ride his Harley over, and he became very ill with cancer, and you know, he took care of me, and he was there for me when I needed someone. And Rayetta, which is another extremely close friend to Roy, we was there for him. We was there for him at the hospital, and you know, it wasn't about anything but being with a friend who needed someone to be there with them. I've had a lot of loss in my life, and I've lost my sister and my brother-in-law and my boyfriend, and it was like, you know, in a few short years, my grandfather. You know, when someone's older, when people are older, it is easier to accept. It's easier to I don't want to say that you don't love them any less or miss them anymore, but when you've got someone your own age, it really hits home. People, you know, when you're there with them, and you know that their passing is It's imminent. It's going to happen. You just kind of just being there, holding their hand. It's the importance of being there for our friends, being tuned in to them when we're around them. We need to put our phones down more and focus on the important stuff, the good stuff in life. Yesterday I got to hold my little great nephew, and you know, knowing that my sister and my brother-in-law will never see him, but I get to see him, and it's awesome. And my phone was going off like crazy yesterday, and I was thinking, oh well, you can just go off, because right now I have him. He's what's important. And you know, I held Roy. All Roy wanted me to do was hold his hand. And he called me sis all the time, because he'd come over and have coffee, and he'd say, hey sis, you know, make me a cup of coffee. Or he'd text me, hey sis, I'm coming over, I'm gonna be there at your house in a few minutes for a cup of coffee. And I'd like make a cup of coffee. We'd go out and sit on my porch down in Old North Dayton. And he you know, the good times that he and I shared. One time he called me up on it was the day after Valentine's Day, because Roy didn't have a lot of money, and he said, let's go get the Valentine's candy that's on sale. He loved chocolate. So it's the good memories that you have of them. Now, here it is, February 15th, and I'm jumping on the back of a Harley, and I held 2 boxes of chocolate that was probably two foot wide. and luckily we just went over to the Walgreens, which was right there on the corner from where I lived, and he was like, because I said, let's get in my car and go get it, and he's like, oh no, we're going on the Harley. And I'm like, okay. But you know, it's the memories and the good times, and that's what you got to hold on to. That's what's important in life. And right now, so many people's going through so many trials that I know, and so many things that it's really heartbreaking. I mean, I'm heartbroken for the kids. I'm heartbroken for the kids that you remember how exciting it is when you're going to school. You know, every year you'd get so excited. You was going to get a new school box. You was going to get new crayons. You was going to get new pencils. You was going to get, and you was going to get to see your friends, most importantly. And now, you know, these kids are having to do this all through homeschooling. And it's really sad, because for some children, they need that structure. They need that teacher. They need, and you know, and maybe their parents both work. And so there's so many things going on in the world that we all have to kind of like join together and be one. There's just so much going on in the world, and there's so many ways that we all can pitch in and help. And if you've got someone who's sick or someone, but you know, there's always the upside to it, because I have so many memories of Roy that I could tell you stories that's just, he was a good bad guy. Actually, he just had the persona of, he wanted to have the persona of the bad boy, but he truly, in his heart, he was not. He was a very good-hearted person.
You know, we kind of grew up with Roy. We went to school with him in Northridge, and actually I live with Roy and another polar bear that is no longer with us, Tony Pyatt. So I've got some interesting stories as well. Probably not as many and as fruitful in conversations as Pam had with Roy. I just want to share something real quick, and we could share testimony after testimony, and we'll probably open this up to some of those during this series. But I just remember my second cousin. She was about 26 years old. And she had, at the time she had, her daughter was, I think, about 8, and her son was about 2. So the son was about near my youngest daughter's age, I think, or maybe my son's age. But anyway, regardless, she ended up getting a rare form of cancer, liver cancer. And I seen that cancer suck the life out of her. And this tree limb is about to suck the life out of me. Anyway, and within 6 months, I seen this cancer suck the life out of her. And she was a jovial, young gal full of energy and passion. And I remember, I used to help her with her kids and would bring food over to her. And we had other real close friends take her to her cancer treatments. And I remember asking her, one day, just sitting down, having a conversation, because we try to invest a lot of time being there, right? We're talking about all there for August. So we were trying to be there for her in that moment and be some comfort, right? And I remember asking her, I'm like, how you doing? So how's today been? How's things going, right? And her statement was, Don, conversations last a little longer and hugs last a little longer. And that was pretty powerful, because thinking about that, until we sometimes realize what our mortality is, that we're not guaranteed tomorrow, none of us are. We're not trying to be negative on what we're sharing here. We're just trying to be real and share from the heart. We're talking about being there, being present for friends, people we love, right? And with her saying that, and realizing her mentality was very profound. And I about busted out a tear when she said that. And I'm thinking, I went home and I hugged my kids. I called my parents, my brother, and let them know how much I love them, how much I care, and how precious moments, engaging and tentative moments are. Because, I have a saying, and I'm full of sayings, I'm full of cliches. But one of the sayings I have is, the good life isn't about how many toys you have or money you make. It's about how many lives you touch and good you create. And that is truly the good life, because you can't take possessions with you, Pam. You can't take that nice house. And I've had nice things. Not that we don't like nice things. I like nice things. Right. But what's more precious and priceless is the memories you create. And I remember, like, my dad and my mom, we got different toys. I mean, probably one of the favorite toys was an Atari. I do remember that toy, but we were the only kids on the block that had Atari. But the times, the most priceless times and gifts I remember was the gift of time, wrestling with my dad, him telling stories and jokes, my mom playing tackle football with us and the neighborhood kids. Those times, those engaging, attentive times is what's priceless and precious. So as we wrap this up, and as what we want to share is, be all there, right, Pam? Be all there. Be there in the moment. Be there in the present. Yesterday is gone. We can't change yesterday. It's a canceled check. Tomorrow, the future is maybe a promissory note. Today is now. It's a gift. That's why it's called the present. So what Pam and I want to share during this time, and I know it's uncertain times, civil unrest, people are arguing, people are irritable, there's civil unrest, it doesn't make sense. No. But I just want to tell you, I am a man of faith, and God is still in control, and you can make a difference of being positive by living in the moment. Now, there might be social distancing and we have to wear these masks. It doesn't mean that you can't be engagingly present, that you can't leverage technology, you can't grab a good friend like Pam and I, meet and go to this beautiful park today and enjoy the weather and sun. You can do that. There's so much you can do to be living in the moment. And as Pam says, off the news media, a little bit less time on the social media, except for watching us on, Coffee with Pam, my YouTube channel, plug, but no, enjoy the moments.
Talking about losing my people, my sister, today's my sister's birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to my sister. And it's not that I'm trying to be a downer, because I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't wish any of my people, and Roy taught me a lot about the Bible that I didn't even know, and I had been raised in church. I mean, I really, if I could bring them back to this, I wouldn't, because it's far greater where they're at. And there's so many that I think of, from our class alone. This is our 35-year reunion, and I'd be afraid to start naming because I know I'd skip somebody because my heart breaks for all of them. You know, there's Devron and Leslie and Barry
Hampton,
Tony Pyatt.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many, and it's you know, and I think about that they're our age and stuff is what he was talking about. Make the time be substantial, and how you want to be remembered. We was talking about this earlier. I told him, I said, you know, we should live every day of our lives of how we want to be remembered.
Absolutely. And there's such a thing as living a legacy. Live it now, enjoy it, live your legacy. Be the person you want to be. Be the person God's molding you into. Be the change. You want to see the change in the world? Maybe be the change. A little bit more of kindness, love, mercy, grace, right? And tell someone how much they mean to you, how important they are to you. Tell a family, a friend, a girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, or whatever that you love them. So Pam, I love you, girl.
I love you too. I do.
So this is Don, your co-host, and the host with the most is Pam saying,
Make it a great day.
because you truly have a choice in making it a great day. Shalom.